Okay, welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
If you're tuning in, you know we do. We take interesting, sometimes complex source material, and, well, we dive deep.
Yeah, the goal is to cut through all the noise, give you the core knowledge, the key insights, quickly and thoroughly.
Exactly. No info overload, just the good stuff.
And today we're jumping into something really fascinating. We're looking at these um, often invisible patterns, subconscious behaviors.
Behaviors that, according to the essay we're using, might actually be holding you back from the life you really want.
It's potent stuff. The source is an essay called Subconscious Behaviors That Are Keeping You from Having the Life You Want.
A very direct title, and
Yeah.
it makes some really compelling points.
It really does. It starts with this idea of a societal monoculture.
Right, like these big overarching beliefs that a whole society just accepts as true without really questioning them.
Yeah, and the essay points out it's, relatively easy to look back historically, say, at 1930s Germany or 1776 America and see their accepted truths, their monoculture.
But seeing the one you're swimming in right now, that's incredibly hard.
Almost impossible sometimes. Because if you've really accepted an idea that deeply, it stops feeling like an idea. It just feels like you're true in reality.
And the source argues that a lot of our inner turmoil, maybe dissatisfaction, comes from trying to live up to one of these unconsciously adopted ideas of normal or ideal.
Even if deep down that's not what we individually want,
So we're sort of living someone else's script without realizing it.
that's the idea.
Yeah.
And the essay then breaks down 8 specific, pretty common behaviors that often stem from this system. Ways we limit ourselves, basically.
Okay, let's unpack these. Let's go one by one. What's the first behavior?
The first one is called the illusion of predicting happiness.
Okay, so the belief that you can just decide what will make you happy in the future and then go get it.
Exactly. That sounds like standard advice, right? Plan your goals,
Yeah.
achieve them, be happy.
Pretty much. But the essay argues against that.
Strongly. It references Daniel Gilbert's work, too, suggesting that psychologically we're actually incapable of accurately predicting what will make our future selves happy.
Why is that?
Because, fundamentally, our brain perceives things based on what it already knows. Past experiences, past feelings.
Okay. So when we picture future happiness, we're just...
Rearranging furniture from the past, essentially. Recreating old ideals, old solutions that maybe worked then or we thought they would.
You're not really creating something new, just projecting the familiar forward.
Precisely. And here's the kicker, the consequence.
Mm.
When life happens, and the reality doesn't perfectly match that prediction you built from past bits.
It feels like failure.
Right.
Hmm.
Even if the actual outcome is something new,
Yeah.
maybe even better for you now because it's unfamiliar, because it doesn't match the blueprint, the brain kind of flags it as bad or wrong.
Wow. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Chasing a fixed picture almost guarantees disappointment because reality is always dynamic.
So the source's big takeaway here is pretty profound. Living in the present moment. It's not just a nice philosophical idea.
It's practical.
It's presented as the only way your brain can actually engage with life without constantly comparing it to a flawed, past-based prediction. It's how you escape that trap.
So something for you listening to think about. Are you constantly mapping out future happiness based on past highs and then feeling kind of adrift or disappointed when things inevitably take a different turn?
It's a common pattern,
Mhm.
and it connects really well to the second behavior the essay highlights. Success is arrival, not process.
Oh, I definitely recognize this one. That feeling of constantly checking in, am I there yet? Is this success?
Yeah, like taking a mental snapshot of your life right now and judging it. Asking, is this good enough? Can I be happy now? Measuring the present by how finished it looks.
Or how good the story sounds if you told someone. Or how you imagine others see it, that whole, is this all there is vibe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when you do that, the source says you completely forget that everything is in flux.
Hmm.
Life isn't static.
There's no finish line you cross where everything freezes perfectly.
Right. The essay puts it bluntly. There's nowhere to arrive except, well, death. So the key takeaway isn't about hitting goals as the definition of success.
What is it then?
It's about how much you expand, how much you grow during the process of living, of striving, of trying things. That's the real measure.
That completely shifts the focus from outcome to journey, I guess.
It does. So the question for you becomes, do you feel this pressure for your life to look a certain way right now? Like you're holding your breath, waiting for some future state before you allow yourself to feel okay or happy or successful?
Heavy stuff. Okay, what's number 3?
Number 3 involves misinterpreting fear and pain.
Okay, this sounds fundamental. We generally think happiness, good, go towards it. Fear, pain equaled bad, run away.
That's the default, isn't it? But the source flips this. It argues that when you pursue something you truly deeply care about, something that requires vulnerability,
Which important things usually do.
you will often feel fear, discomfort, pain even. And these feelings aren't necessarily stop signs.
So they're not always warnings that you're on the wrong path.
Not necessarily. The essay suggests they can actually be indicators that you're doing something significant, something that's scary because it's worthwhile.
Interesting. So how do you know if it's a good fear versus a bad fear?
The source makes a distinction. True indifference,
Yeah.
feeling nothing much, either way, that's the sign you genuinely don't want something. But fear often equals interest. It means you're invested.
Wow, okay. Fear equals interest. That's a powerful reframe.
It is. So, reflecting on your own life, have there been times you backed away from something, a project, a relationship, a leap because it felt scary or uncomfortable,
And maybe you told yourself it was a sign it wasn't right for you.
when perhaps that fear was actually pointing towards something that mattered deeply, something that required you to stretch?
That's a challenging thought. And related to fear, I suppose, is the next one.
Yes. Number 4 is treating crises as avoidance.
This sounds like self-sabotage. The pattern where your life just seems full of unnecessary drama or emergencies.
Kind of. The source analyzes this as a really clever subconscious avoidance strategy
Avoidance of what?
of being truly vulnerable, of being accountable, of facing the deeper fears about, say, failure or success, or just being seen for who you are.
So you create external chaos.
To keep yourself too busy, too stressed, too focused on putting out fires.
Have to deal with the bigger, scarier internal stuff, like pursuing what you actually want.
Exactly. It's a distraction mechanism.
Ah,
The essay's core insight here is that often when you're caught in this pattern, the thing you think you're upset about isn't the real issue.
there's something underneath.
Yeah. Underneath, it's often a fear of stepping up, of being who you are, of living the life you truly desire, but are maybe afraid to claim.
So if your life feels like a constant series of self-generated dramas or urgent issues that always seem to derail you from your bigger goals, this might be something to look at.
Definitely worth considering if that pattern feels familiar.
Okay, number 5.
This one is about how beliefs actually change. It's titled, Belief Change Through Experience, Not Just Thought.
Right, so the common idea is change your thinking, change your life, read a self-help book, adopt a new mantra.
And just decide to believe differently. And the source says, well, that's often not enough. It doesn't usually stick long term.
Why not?
Because a belief, in the sense that it genuinely directs your actions and shapes your reality, isn't just a thought you choose. It's something you know deep down.
Oh.
Because experience has made it real and evident to you. You haven't just thought it, you've lived it, or seen it proven in a way that resonates deeply.
Okay. So trying to just think positive thoughts might not shift a core belief forged by negative experiences?
Not usually, no.
Mm-hmm.
The key takeaway is this. To change your life, you need to change your beliefs, yes. But to truly change beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
you need to go out and have experiences that make the new belief feel self-evident.
Yeah.
Tangible.
The experience comes first, then the belief solidifies, not the other way around.
Exactly. It challenges that mind over matter idea a bit. So ask yourself, are you perhaps stuck trying to mentally force yourself into new beliefs instead of seeking out the actions and experiences that would naturally cultivate them?
That's a practical distinction. Okay, moving on to number 6.
Number 6 offers another reframe. Problems as pathways,
Yeah.
not roadblocks.
Our gut reaction to problems is usually negative, right? They're obstacles. They stop us.
That's the instinctive view. But the essay flips this, citing Marcus Aurelius. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way.
Okay, that sounds profound, but a bit cryptic. What does it mean practically?
The source explains it like this. When you hit a real problem, a genuine obstacle, it forces you to stop doing things the way you were. You can't just proceed on autopilot.
You have to react. You have to figure something out.
Exactly. You're forced to take action to resolve it, to find a way around or through it. And that forced action inevitably makes you think differently, behave differently, maybe make choices you wouldn't have otherwise considered.
So the problem itself forces the detour, and the detour is the new path forward.
Precisely. The problem isn't just stopping you. It's actively catalyzing change. It pushes you out of your comfort zone, forces innovation or adaptation, and becomes the very thing that helps you actualize the life you want, even if it looks different than you originally planned.
So it's about how you frame the obstacle.
Yes. How do you react when things get tough? Do you see a wall or do you see a challenge that's essentially redirecting you? Maybe onto a path that requires more from you, but could lead somewhere important.
A lot to think about there. Okay, number 7.
Number 7 tackles a big one. Your past doesn't define you unless you let it.
Ah, the weight of history. Feeling like past events, especially tough ones, dictate who you are now.
Yeah, this feeling that the past is this fixed, unchangeable thing that limits your present and future. The source offers a more fluid perspective.
How so?
It argues that your perception of the past isn't fixed. It actually changes as you change and evolve. Memory isn't like a perfect video recording.
It's more selective.
Very selective. When you recall something, you're choosing, often unconsciously, which details, which feelings, which gist of the event to focus on. And that choice reflects your current mindset, your current level of understanding.
So how I remember something painful from 10 years ago might be different today than it was 5 years ago because I'm different.
Exactly. The essay suggests that feeling chronically haunted or defined by the past often happens because you haven't yet reached a perspective where you can see how those events, even the difficult ones,
Didn't just happen to you, but maybe shaped you.
yes, facilitated your evolution in some way. It's not about pretending bad things weren't bad. It's about integrating them into your story with acceptance.
Seeing them as part of the journey that made you who you are now, someone capable of moving forward.
Precisely. Placing them within your evolutionary storyline, not as roadblocks, but as maybe difficult terrain you navigated.
So if you feel trapped by your history, the invitation is to explore how those very events might have actually equipped you, shaped your strengths, rather than just holding you back.
That's the essence of it. It's about shifting the narrative you tell yourself about your past.
Okay, powerful. And the final one, number 8.
The last behavior identified is anger at others as self-recognition.
This sounds intriguing, getting really mad at other people. How does that relate to the self?
This is about that intense irritation, criticism, or anger you feel towards certain people or situations, that urge to complain about them, change them.
We probably all know that feeling about someone or something.
Right. The source suggests digging underneath that. It proposes that these strong negative reactions are often signals. They're pointing to something within you,
Kind of something.
what the essay calls shadow selves. These are parts of your own personality traits, desires, needs that you've suppressed or disowned.
Why would you suppress them?
Usually because somewhere along the line you got the message they weren't okay. Maybe it was being too loud, too needy, too ambitious, too passive, too messy, whatever. You learn to push that part away to fit in or feel accepted.
Okay, so you push down a part of yourself, and then you see it in someone else.
And it drives you crazy. The source argues the intense anger isn't really at the other person for having the trait. It's your own internal conflict
A conflict
with your own suppressed desire to reclaim that part of yourself. You don't actually hate the trait. You hate that you're not allowing it in yourself. The things you love in others often mirror things you love in yourself. The things you hate in others,
are often things you can't see or accept in yourself. Your own shadows.
that's the idea. It turns the focus right back inwards.
Wow. That's a lot to take in. It means when someone really bugs you.
The question becomes, what aspect of me might this person be reflecting that I've pushed away or judged harshly in myself?
Okay, that gives us a full picture of these 8 behaviors, bringing this deep dive towards a close then.
The core message running through all of this, from the source essay, seems to be that a lot of what holds us back isn't conscious. It's not deliberate sabotage.
It's these subconscious patterns, right? Often picked up from our culture, that monoculture, and maybe based on misunderstandings about how our own minds and emotions actually work.
Exactly. And the value in exploring this, the source suggests, is that just understanding these patterns, becoming aware of them, is like getting a shortcut to self-awareness.
It helps you see where you might be operating on autopilot, on these hidden defaults that limit you.
Yeah, it gives you clarity. And with clarity comes the potential to make different choices, conscious choices this time.
It's not about blame, just recognition.
Recognition is key. The essay really emphasizes that simply noticing these patterns in yourself is the crucial first step.
The step away from living by that unconscious default and towards consciously building a life you genuinely want.
So maybe a final thought for you to take away from our dive today. Reflect on these 8 behaviors we've discussed.
Is there one that particularly jumped out at you? One that felt resonant, maybe uncomfortably familiar?
Just noticing that, acknowledging that specific pattern in yourself, that simple act of recognition, according to the source, is the starting point. It's where the shift begins.